It is 12 noon on this Friday. Hope everyone is having a good start to your weekend. Should be beautiful weather across the deep south. Appreciate you tuning us in on great radio stations in Huntsville, Alabama, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, and down in Mobile, Alabama. The Jocks Network beaming in strong on this Friday. Appreciate everybody tuning us in. The Courtesy GMC text line is open the rest of the way at 205-834-9450. You can always call us as well at 1-800-239-WJOX. A myriad of topics that we've discussed this morning. We had Coach Wimp Sanderson on the program, brought to you by Craneworks. Mike Rodak gave us the very latest about Charles Bediako, where the NCAA has filed an expected motion opposing Charles Bediako receiving an interim injunction from the Alabama Supreme Court. Now, Mike Rodak told us that Charles Bediako was in Puerto Rico yesterday playing for Canada in basketball, because I asked him the question if Charles Bediako was traveling with Alabama and would he be available to play against Tennessee tomorrow if the Alabama Supreme Court had given him the temporary injunction. And he said, I guess from a traveling standpoint, if he could get to Knoxville, I suppose that he would be able to play or at least be inserted to give a few minutes, maybe for Sherrell to get a breather or two. So we're waiting on the Alabama Supreme Court. They could rule today. They may not rule at all. We just have to wait and see in regards to Charles Bediako.
Well, the good news is Charles Bediako, someone still needs his services, wants his services as a 7-footer to play professional basketball. But it does make me wonder how lucrative the offer was to come back to Alabama to play for whatever amount of time they thought that he would get. I realize that you're not earning a lot at that level professionally, but to come in mid-season, makes you think that college basketball, along with college football, it's probably pretty good for those guys.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting because he was about furthering his education at the University of Alabama, and he's in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Studying abroad? Is this a semester?
I was going to say maybe it's that, or he's just logging into a class on a Zoom. Maybe I don't know.
Was that just come back whenever you want and your school's paid for?
I don't know the arrangement that they had with Charles Bediako, but I can tell you this: that 82% of our audience, we've asked multiple times in different ways, 82% of our audience on this radio show says it's time to move on. Like, thank you, Charles, for your services. Move along.
You think the Supreme Court is going to make that by not making a ruling on the case?
I would be surprised if they ruled on it.
I would too.
I mean, just not even address it, and it just dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. But I do not have my law degree, so I don't know.
We should by now.
You think we would, as much as we talk about it. Alabama's at Tennessee tomorrow. That's a 5 o'clock tip-off. Tennessee's won 5 straight against Alabama. The last tied win versus UT was December 29th, 2021. Matter of fact, Bama hasn't scored more than 76 points against a Rick Barnes team. And it's been, I think, 2009 since Bama has scored over 80 points against a Tennessee Vol team. So that's very interesting to see what takes place. If you remember it back at Tuscaloosa, Tennessee beat Bama by 6, but a couple main pieces to the Alabama team was unavailable due to injury. So we'll see if that pays. Philon should be back. Obviously, Holloway did not play in the first meeting. Those are two, big guys, if they're healthy, ready to go. So we'll see what happens. And JR just told us a few moments ago here on the program that he is seeing maybe offshore 3.5, 4 points, Tennessee as a favorite in that basketball game. Meanwhile, the Auburn Tigers, they're back at home. They're going to take on the Ole Miss Rebels. That is a 7:30 tip-off. You can hear the game right here on Jocks. Auburn beat Ole Miss in Oxford 78-66 back in January. Keyshawn Hall had 19 points. Tahad Pettiford, 17. Keyshawn Murphy, 16 points. He also had 14 rebounds in that game. A really good game for Keyshawn Murphy. Ole Miss, meanwhile, as a team, they're 1-12 against quad one opponents. Also, they have struggled on the road in conference play. They are 2-6 in the SEC on the road with their 2 wins coming against Georgia and Mississippi State.
Well, and it speaks to the credit of the league when you got an Ole Miss team coached by Chris Beard, who is highly respected across college basketball in what he's been able to do in previous stops. Getting Ole Miss to the tournament last year But now a lot of pressure on these coaches in the conference because everybody's spending money. Everyone has money to spend. There's only a certain amount of players and roster spots for those guys to get gobbled up. And oh, by the way, you still have the Big East, the likes of the ACC and the Big 12 going and getting these guys. So now if we're consistently getting 10 teams in, a lot of pressure on those other 6.
Very much so.
Because it's got to be somebody, and the chances are it's going to be somebody that's got a relatively healthy basketball history here in the last 10, 15 years.
All right, so where's your sweet spot in regards to the number of SEC teams?
I think it's 10.
Think it's 10? Me too.
Now, I couldn't tell you I've got a pretty good idea of who the 10 are. Well, who about?
Yeah, the 9, 10.
Yeah.
Depends on what happens probably over the course of the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
According to Joe Lunardi, the SEC will have 11 teams in the NCAA tournament. I was just looking over some data a few minutes ago, and you hear me talk about the net rankings on this program. And the net rankings, basically, they break you off into a quad 1, quad 2, quad 3, and quad 4, depending on your ranking. So when you hear me say a quad 1 win, for example, if it's a home game and you're playing a team that's between 1 and 30, then that's a quad 1. If it's on the road, it would be through 75. That would be classified as a quad 1. And if it's a neutral site, it's 1 through 50. So as I'm sitting here looking at it, the SEC leads the nation with 62.5% of its teams are ranked in the top 50 in the net rankings. 10 teams in the top 50 according to the net rankings. As a conference, the SEC has also played 12 quad 1 games per team.
Whoa.
That's an average. 12 per team. 195 total games by the Southeastern Conference teams against quad 1 opponent. That leads the nation. So when you start seeing the bracketologists, whether it's our own Rocco Miller, whether it's Joe Lunardi, and they want to point out that the SEC is looking at 11 teams, there's a very good reason for that based on what these stats that I just told you.
It's interesting there's not the teeth mashing that we get for the college football playoff. I realize there's more opportunities and not as much reason to scrutinize, but everybody's not up in arms when it comes to strength of schedule. That's why I just wish we would get transparency with the college football playoff.
Yeah, like we do this.
Yes.
I mean, every day, whether it's Ken Palm or net rankings, you have a really good fit. And I know they're not completely showing us how the sausage is made when it comes Selection Sunday in college basketball. But we really have when you have guys like Rocco Miller that is nailing about 98% of the field, they're looking at the data and they're able to break it down. I just wish college football was that way.
Yeah.
Because it's not. So I just told you that the SEC has played 195 quad 1 games. That's number 1 in America. The SEC also has 69 quad 1 wins, which is the most in the nation. So the statistics back up the fact. So when you start hearing the SEC is going to get 10 or 11 teams in, it may not be the type of season we had last year where you could have pinpointed 3 or 4 teams that, you know what, that team looks like it could make the Final Four. Where I think right now everyone would agree that it's probably Florida as the only team that you would feel pretty good mortgaging your house, possibly making it to the Final Four.
Yeah, out of the SEC, that would be the team. But
that doesn't mean that Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee, or Kentucky or anybody else gets hot, that they could be that team to make it. But as of right now, I think the conventional wisdom in the Southeastern Conference is that Florida is the best team.
They are the best team. And I think, like the run we had with Frank Martin in South Carolina several years ago when they made it to the Final Four, that was not a team, while they had some good players, that was not a team that anyone was projecting. I think we're going to see fewer of those runs. Like we're going to see fewer of the Cinderella runs with some of the mid-majors and maybe, the St. Peters of the world. Because the concentration of the talent, it's all been funneling up to the Power 4 programs.
And let's be honest, it was a very good Alabama basketball team. But if you go back and you look at the bracket and who Alabama had to beat to get to the Final Four, it set up really nice for Alabama that year. And so you also have to have a little bit of luck of the draw, so to speak. You got to have a good basketball team to get there. but you also have to traverse those muddy waters.
Yeah.
And depending on who you're playing, and we can admit that Alabama, when you looked at their road to the Final Four,
Oh, it's set up nicely.
yeah.
But and the flip side would be 2019 and Auburn and Bruce Pearl and what they drew. Remember, they got that New Mexico State team, Kansas, North Carolina, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Again, like a murderer's row of teams.
But then on the flip of that, look at what happened to Auburn a couple of years ago when you lose to Yale.
Right.
I mean, it was set up good for Auburn.
Yeah.
Until Yale came and beat them.
Yale will do that to you.
Yeah. They will.
Their coach, he was impressive. Got to meet him last year.
Yeah.
You can just smell the smartness.
We've also got spring football that started today at an SEC campus. That's right. February 27th, we have got spring football going on right now at the University of Missouri. Eli Drinkwitz met with the media yesterday, and his Tigers are on the practice field starting today. Their spring game is going to come up on March 19th. So be here before you know it. The next team that will take the field will be the Florida Gators. They're on March the 3rd. That's next week. We hope to have a conversation with John Summerall on Three-Man Front coming up next week. South Carolina, they open on March 4th. Bama, March the 8th. Oklahoma, March 9th. Texas, March 9th. Arkansas, March 15th. Vandy, March 15th. Tennessee on the 16th. Auburn on the 17th. Georgia on the 17th. Mississippi State on the 17th. A&M's on the 20th. Kentucky has yet to announce when they're going to do it. They say it's going to be in March. Now, they've already got their spring game set up, but their practice schedule has not been finalized. Ole Miss is on March 23rd, and LSU and Lane Kiffin, they are the last ones. I wonder if that was done on purpose, just so that they would get the most, lid the drama of the first spring with Lane Kiffin. Everybody, there'll be a lot of people.
That or he's not through signing kids out of the portal.
Possibly.
Maybe so.
Mm-hmm.
I could understand why. Does it really matter now? See, maybe the advantage of doing an earlier spring, starting, number one, it'd be notoriety for your program. We saw Vanderbilt. It felt like Vanderbilt did it maybe a few years ago, where you're that only team out there and people are talking about you. I don't think that's the reason. And then I was thinking spring transfer portal with that. All right, you have the January portal. You've got your team set. You got your roster set. Go ahead and get through spring practice and then realize what your deficiencies are. Hey, we still need to address this in the portal. But now you don't have a spring portal.
Yeah, the only thing you can do before this rule passes is try to get someone to leave school.
Yeah.
Like withdraw from school and then show up on campus at your place.
I would think that it would. Well,
if I was a coach, I would want to have spring practice as soon as possible. And the reason why, just in case somebody is injured.
Yeah.
You were giving them the absolute
another good point.
Most amount of time that they can heal themselves and be ready for fall. So I don't know if that's the reason why Mizzou decided to go on February 27th. They're the only school in the Southeastern Conference to start in the month of February.
I bet Eli Drinkwitz didn't think he was going to be coaching Missouri in February.
He probably didn't. Probably thought he was going to be at LSU.
Or Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other 7 jobs he was mentioned for.
Somewhere. The phone lines are open, 1-800-239-WJOX. The courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. We will get to your text. A lot of you have been chiming in on the hockey situation. I told the story of Tyler O'Neill, the outfielder DH for the Baltimore Orioles, was asked about. He's a Canadian, and he started belly aching about the 3-on-3 hockey again in the playoffs or the overtime. So you got a comment about that or anything else going on in the world of sports? We'd love to hear from you on this Friday here on Jocks.
Well, that feels like warm weather music. It's going up, what, 68, 69 today? It's three-man front. It's a Friday. Landrum, Pat, and Molly hanging out. We appreciate Wimp Sanderson joining us, courtesy of Craneworks, breaking down all the basketball and a great preview of Alabama, Tennessee, and beyond. Mike Rodak, who also covers the Tide, talking not only basketball, but a little bit of spring football and NCAA news. Any portion of the show you miss each and every day, you can find it there at three-man-front and jocksfm.com and our podcast. Appreciate all of our viewers on YouTube, on Jocks TV. Just smash subscribe, and we always appreciate the follow and the viewers and all of you there in Jocks Mobile, Jocks Montgomery, Jocks Huntsville, and listening on the Jocks app. Really, Pat, there's no excuse not to find Jocks.
Not at all, mate. Meanwhile, we've got Braves Vision on here and in studio. You excited about Braves Vision?
Yeah, Sale after the new contract gave up a home run to Jared Duran, but 1-0, and Acuna's on second. Apparently, we have some kind of pitching delay. I don't know. ABS has been interesting to watch.
Did you see the clip of Acuna and Skeens yesterday? Was it yesterday when he faced Skeens? No, that was the Yankees they faced yesterday.
Yeah, he faced the Yankees.
I guess when they faced Skeens, Acuna immediately went to the ABS. Like it was like in the first inning.
He just stole another base. All right. Ronnie looks good. Early season form. Pro far, as long as he doesn't get suspended.
It'll be very interesting to see what happens with Ronald Acuna this year and see what the Braves
come on,
want to do with him moving forward.
Somebody's going to agree to pay him ridiculous money that the Braves are not willing to pay. That's the way it goes. The question is, who's it going to be? Is it going to be the Dodgers? Is it going to be the Yankees? Potentially the Padres?
What team would upset you the most?
I don't want to see him a Dodger. No. Oh, and we got a collision, and apparently that is not good news. In real time, two Red Sox have collided in the outfield. The run will score. But that is not – is that Duran? Is that Durant? No, it's not. Spring baseball, man. That's why you watch.
You watch for outfield collisions?
No, you watch to see what your roster is going to look like because half of it might not be there by opening day. Come on, guys, communicate. 205-834-9450. People texting into the show. And someone on the Great Britain uniforms kind of piggybacking off of that. They said the greatest Olympic uniform was the Lithuanian basketball uniforms. They couldn't afford the Olympics, so the Grateful Dead sponsored them.
Sure
tie-dyed
did.
uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really good pull.
Yep, sure did.
Going back to, who was it? Tyler O'Neill making excuses?
Yes.
For Canadian hockey. Sean reminds us making excuses leads to losing. Losers make excuses. Wouldn't expect anything less. I know y'all don't watch hockey. We watch USA hockey. But the Predators won yesterday. Along with Braves baseball. We're getting channel lineups now from Howie. Thank you, Howie. On great television here locally right now.
You know, one of the rumors out there in this Braves conglomeration is that potentially they want to put together a regional sports outlet that would include the Predators, the Grizzlies, the Hawks, the Braves. That's one of the things that's being thrown out there right now.
Well, that's what I had with FanDuel. That's how I consumed the Braves on television last year. And that was included. You had your options. You had Preds, you had Hawks, you had Braves. I don't remember if the Grizzlies were on there or not, but not a bad idea. I think it's better for me as a Braves viewer. It seems like where you're not maybe at the will of, was that MLB TV? During rain delays, are we going to get Sanford and Son reruns? Canadians are sore losers. Someone asking, why would the NFL, the NBA appeal the California Jocks Tax to the Supreme Court? 13.3%. That's the jock tax. And for Mike Rodak, Fornos is worth visiting Newark. Just be careful getting there. Someone asking, what guys are you watching Braves Vision on?
That would be locally on Gray Television, which here in Birmingham is WBRC Fox 6. And it's on live now.
Wyndham asks, if the Braves aren't willing to pay money for Acuna, does that mean they don't care about winning a World Series? Well, they won a World Series without him when he was hurt. I don't think that means they don't. But the one World Series you've won since Ronald Acuna has been on your team, he actually did not play the second half of the season that you made the run and had the incredible record. So I don't know. I know the Braves, they're not going to pay stupid money. Countless examples. They're not going to do it. Now, Ronald Acuna, when he turns 38, good chance he could come back.
Have you seen the Ozuna in a Pirates uniform? How's he doing in spring training?
I tuned in the Pirates the other day, but I did not see Marcel. The Pirates, Marcel. Let's see. That's a great ballpark for him to play in, though.
Mm-hmm. I think he'll do well there.
Yeah, so far, 3 games, 6 at-bats.
And 6 strikeouts.
1 hit.
There you go.
How many Ks?
Was it a home run?
Only 1 strikeout. He's hitting
Hey, I haven't
about
asked you
67.
yet. What do you think about Austin Riley's new hairdo? You like it? Said his wife inspired him. Saw an interview with.
He's a smart man.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. He's got the curls.
Got the locks coming out of his helmet.
Got those Mississippi blue eyes. And that is not what we need from him this year. Come on, Austin. It's all that hair in your eyes.
It's spring training baseball, man.
Golly.
Take it easy.
Look like a hippie. No, he doesn't. I didn't know Austin Riley was married. Lucky man. 205-834-9450.
So I'm sitting here going over this list. It's been expanded now. Remember, I was telling you, I remember one of the show about all the folks that are supposed to convene in Washington, D.C. as President Trump. He's having a presidential roundtable for more than 36 dignitaries and sports celebrities to further explore solutions for the industry's ills regarding college sports. So I already told you that Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, Adam Silver, Tiger Woods, Greg Sankey, Tony Petitti, Brett Yormark, Jim Phillips, Tim Tebow, Bryson DeChambeau, former Heisman Trophy winning quarterback from Florida State, Charlie Ward, Mac Brown, former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, the current Notre Dame athletics director, the former Notre Dame AD, Texas Tech booster Cody Campbell, the chancellor of Tennessee, she's going to be there. The president of the University of Georgia will be there. The ADs from Indiana, Wake Forest, Iowa State, and Oklahoma will be in attendance. Ron DeSantis will be there, the governor of Florida. Yankees president Randy Levine, Patriots president, son of Robert Kraft, Jonathan Kraft, ESPN and Fox Sports presidents, and the president of the University of Nebraska. The president of the University of Kansas will also be in attendance. So there you go. Nebraska being represented.
I mean, I think it's great to get these people together, but I don't know what. I respect all of these people for things that they have done, who they are, what they will do. But have you not heard enough from leaders across college athletics on what the problem is? Or is there a simple solution? I don't know where you start Guess my point is I don't have a whole lot of hope that really anything's going to come out of this. How many of those people even want to show up? I'm not saying for political reasons. I'm saying going, golly, I really don't know. I don't have an answer. If he calls on me, I don't have a really good idea.
I mean, outside of taking the photo op, what really is going to get done in this?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, coach, when you were winning all of those championships, how did you do it through the NIL era? Well, I didn't win those championships in the NIL era. What's for lunch?
Can we take a picture in the Rose Garden?
In fact, that's why I got out of coaching. I don't know. I hope something gets done, but
Most committees don't work. So I don't think having
so the two main objectives here.
three dozen people there is going to matter.
Let's make the most possible money we can for everyone in intercollegiate athletics while also preserving the innocence of what we think college athletics used to be.
That's long gone.
Have fun with that. Yeah. I'd rather have been a part of the foursome.
The golf would have been more fun.
Been a lot more fun.
All right, we will get to your text messages. Phone calls are coming in at 1-800-239-WJOX.
12:33, three-man front. Hope you're getting ready for an exciting weekend right now. Exciting inside of Cool Today Park. Braves and the Red Sox tied at 1 as they play at the top of the second. Braves so far in this spring training, which is always a little bit weird. You don't want your team to be great in the record column, the win-loss column. Some teams just can't help it. But the Braves off to a decent start. And Chris Sale, who just got the contract extension with the option for 28, is looking someone like Chris Sale. But it's still very, very early. How are your Cardinals looking? Good? Hadn't heard a whole lot from you.
They're 4-2 in spring training.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's solid.
Yeah. Braves are 4-2 in spring training.
Molly?
I don't think the Tigers have won a game yet.
They're 0-5.
Yep, see.
They're pacing themselves.
Let's say we're saving all the wins for the regular season.
You're so tired from that postseason last year,
know.
right?
We're just still exhausted.
It's like Christmas comes and boom, you're right back
we're
at spring
right back.
training.
Yeah.
It's like we were just here.
Like I said, we're saving all of our wins.
Atta girl.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, we won the Grapefruit League. We had the best record of any team in Florida during spring training, and then we proceeded to lose the most games we had lost in 110 years of playing baseball in St. Louis.
See?
So you just got to take it all with
reverse psychology here.
I can remember sitting in Tommy Tuberville's office when he was at Auburn, and we were talking because I think it was Steve Spurrier who had gotten off to the good start in preseason start in the NFL. And I think Tubbs, his reaction was, yeah, but you remember what Jimmy Johnson did before his first year with the Cowboys. Cowboys went undefeated, looked great in the preseason.
Didn't win a game.
They went, what, 1-15?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Almost went winless.
And I always think about that when I think about spring training.
Mm-hmm.
But last year, there were some things that, as a Braves fan, you could look at. When Arcia, in 60 at-bats, has 2 hits, that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain trends that you definitely can look at. But the biggest thing is the pitchers just want to go get their work in, get their bodies ready for a long season. Of course, now you got the World Baseball Classic, where you've got a lot of these players are about to leave their camps to go practice with their country's teams. So you just hope that they don't get injured, they don't get hurt. Because I will tell you this, from my team's perspective, we had more players that in the last World Baseball Classic, we had the most players off of our roster play in the World Baseball Classic for a myriad of different nations. And half the guys came back and they absolutely had terrible first months of the season.
Are you okay with that as an American?
I am, absolutely. I know. I'm for the World Baseball Classic. I love it, just like I love the hockey competition in the Olympics, both men and women. I love the World Baseball Classic. You try to minimize the potential of guys getting hurt, but it is what it is. You can get hurt playing spring training baseball. We just saw 2 professional baseball outfielders, both of them calling for a ball, run into each other.
Knees hit.
I mean, so it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
And it's different, but if Acuna gets dinged up or hurt, if he was playing for Team Venezuela, I'd be fired up mad.
But if he got hurt playing for the United States, you wouldn't be.
No, I wouldn't.
But you can't feel bad for him. He's wanting to play for his country.
No, I don't. Yo, I don't. I want him to play for my Braves and Braves country too. Just stay healthy, guys. They got hold of that one. Braves up 2-1. I can't even tell who hit the home run.
I think it's just Shrimsky.
That's a good pickup. Go Bravos. 2-1 as they play there in Florida against the Red Sox, the Bo Sox. 205-834-9450. This coming in on the White House get-together and summoning some of the greats of college athletics, said in Birmingham, it says, aside from the photo op, this committee is a waste of time. If they had a few bipartisan people from Congress there because they make the laws, I don't see what they will accomplish. I don't know what's going to come out of this that couldn't have already been talked about through some of these meetings, but you get all these minds together. Maybe they start throwing out ideas. This is where we go first, and then you get some senators or Congress involved. I know that Tommy Tuberville, you had Joe Manchin. I forget what bill but that was bipartisan. And there's a lot there. There's a lot. Hopefully something comes out, but Trip Sends a text. Landrum went to a game on Wednesday. Pirates Skeens. Man, you need to get down here one year. Spring training rocks. I'm 4 miles from the stadium. I would love to do spring training trip. It's on my bucket list. My brother got to do it when he was young. And he says that was one of the best trips he's ever had as an adult or a kid going to spring training.
Mm-hmm.
You said you've done it, right?
I have
Or
not.
you've never done it.
I've never done it.
I have.
Molly's done it.
My first baseball game was a Braves spring training game. I mean, I was like 3 or 4, so I barely remember it.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I really remember from that trip is being at Disney World because we did a 2-in-1.
Oh, very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Posey adds that Comrade probably doesn't like the World Baseball Classic either. I don't know if he's a fan or not. I know he's a Yankees fan. Jimmy says, I haven't heard Conrad in a while. He's probably just regaining consciousness in a basement in Childersburg.
That's good. That's funny.
Keep them rolling in. 205-834-9450.
Nate Oates met with the media just a couple moments ago. He says that Phylon participated at some in practice today. Remember, he sat out the Mississippi State game earlier this week. Quoting Nate Oates, hopefully he'll respond well and will be able to play in the Tennessee game. Meanwhile, Stephen Pearl meeting with the media today down at Auburn, and he says that we had one of our best practices of the year yesterday. So Auburn's backs against the wall. They need a couple of wins before they play the Iron Bowl of basketball a week from tomorrow.
Can't afford any more losses.
No, can't lose to Ole Miss, can't lose to LSU midweek down on the Plains. You got to get wins, got to keep the momentum going.
Yep. And Stephen Pearl announcing or letting it be known he wants to hire a GM of basketball.
Correct.
Before April 7th.
Mm-hmm. Before the transfer portal comes open for basketball.
I know that everybody in the SEC, it seems like, whatever they call them, has a GM for football. But for basketball, would this be? I'm not saying unique. I'm sure other programs have them. But for the SEC, is it?
Yeah, I don't know who Alabama's is if they have one.
We all know Courtney Morgan's name.
Yeah, for football, but I couldn't tell you for basketball.
Interesting. Keep an eye on that. Also, Sanford is at home as they are in the Pete Hanna Center tomorrow. 5:00. The tip as they host UNC Greensboro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got a big win last night, 80-61 over VMI. They're now 17-13, 10-7 in the SoCon. They're currently the 4th seed in the tournament that will be played in Asheville, North Carolina. Just saw this come across the wire just a few moments ago. No, this is not about Charles Bediako, but this is about a former Alabama basketball player. Grant Nelson, one of Brian Edwards' favorite players to ever play at the University of Alabama. He has just signed a 10-day contract with the Brooklyn Nets. So a 10-day contract for Grant Nelson. They're playing the Celtics tonight at 6:30 in Boston. Nelson averaged almost 12 points, almost 7 rebounds, 1.4 assists, and 1.4 block shots in 74 games in 2 seasons at the University of Alabama. So he is going to get his opportunity as the Nets take on the Boston Celtics tonight, and Grant Nelson signed a 10-day contract. Still got the mustache.
Yeah, he does. I think former Celtic Larry Bird would appreciate that mustache.
Very much so.
We'll continue. It's Friday edition of 3-Man Front as we roll on Jocks.
Oh, the sun's coming out. It's going to be just a fantastic weekend in central Alabama. Beautiful weather means that you need to trek out off of I-459, exit 32 to Courtesy GMC in Trussville. Right now, over 50 2026 GMC Sierras on the ground, up to $12,000 off MSRP. All trim levels to choose from. Courtesy's also extended this incredible $399 lease and sign on drive on the 2026 Canyon Elevations in stock. You know, they started with 17, only just a handful left. They're at the 9.5 acre lot there in Trussville. And when you buy a new Courtesy GMC, you're going to get that 7-year, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty on all new GMCs. You can check out all the makes and models on the certified pre-owned vehicles. Extensive pre-owned inventory is available there at Courtesy GMC. It's a very short drive, no matter where you're hearing the sound of my voice across the great state of Alabama. You can head off of I-459 exit 32 in Trussville. Check them out online at courtesybirmingham.com. That is Courtesy GMC. We are professional grade.
Latest college basketball bracketology is out from ESPN's Joe Lunardi. This fresh one coming out this morning. You've got plenty of SEC teams. They're in the mix, but starting with the 1 seeds, of course, Duke, Michigan, UConn, Arizona. Then you've got the likes of Florida there as a 3 seed, 2 seed. Alabama is a 4 seed. Arkansas is a 5 seed. They would be paired up potentially with a South Florida team out of the American, but they would have to win the American Conference, and that's one of those teams that Rocco said, keep an eye on the South Florida Bulls. If they're playing well, they make it to the big dance. That's one of those teams that you could see making a deeper run. Auburn, meanwhile, is listed as an 11 seed, and they would play one of those first matchups against 11 seed TCU. So Auburn just hanging in there like you fill in the blank, and all they got to do is hold serve against Ole Miss. Beat LSU at home, and if you win those two, you probably don't need to win against Alabama, right?
I agree.
Texas A&M, meanwhile, they're listed as a 10 seed. Missouri listed as a 10 seed. Scrolling through, Vanderbilt would be a 5. Tennessee would be a 5. Texas as a 10. Kentucky as a 7. And as I mentioned, Florida as a 2. And look, now you get one of those, I don't know if anybody slips off that one line, but Florida with a win this weekend over Arkansas, convincing fashion. They're at home. They play John Calipari and the Hogs as a 9.5-point favorite. Playing really good. But I don't think there's any argument if you've been watching the SEC, Alabama and Florida right now seem to be playing their best basketball at the right time.
Yeah, Mike Rodak pointed it out, and you can take a look at some of the opponents that Alabama has played over the last couple of weeks. The schedule obviously got a lot lighter in regards to the SEC competition, and Alabama has been able to take care of business, but that's what you're supposed to do when you get in this conference and you get to this point of the season and you're playing teams that have struggled to get SEC wins. And this will be a big one for Alabama. I think Alabama is pretty solid on the 4 line, but if Alabama finds itself winning the rest of the regular season games and maybe getting to the championship game in Nashville in the SEC tournament, I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility of maybe being a 3, maybe. But I think 4 is pretty locked in for them based on everything I've seen.
Yeah, they stay on that 4 line. Got a lot. It seems like we got a lot of SEC on the 5 line. Mm-hmm. It was like the SEC, they could fill out the entire 5 line. I wouldn't call it, it's not great news, but hopefully everything's okay. If you saw it, Billy Gillispie, remember Billy Gillispie and his different stops, and we mentioned the SEC and, of course, Kentucky, and that did not work out. And there was a myriad of reasons. Then on to Texas Tech. He's had health problems, and that initially caused his first retirement. He's been coaching at Tarleton State, had to leave because of health concerns back on January the 15th. Also believe now that might be it and calling it a career, but at least done there at Tarleton State. So Billy Gillispie, thoughts and prayers with him and maybe improved health, and hope everything gets right.
So tomorrow, the SEC basketball docket looks like this, as it will be a very busy day. It's going to start at 12 noon as Mizzou takes on Mississippi State. Number 25, Vanderbilt, they visit Kentucky. That's a big game for Big Blue Nation. They're coming off the win at South Carolina. You've got South Carolina. They're at Georgia. Georgia licking its wounds after the loss in Nashville midweek. Texas on the road against their rival Texas A&M. As Texas, they took it on the chin. Likewise, so did A&M. So both of those squads looking for a much-needed win. We mentioned Alabama and Tennessee. That's a 5 o'clock. That's on ESPN. Oklahoma at LSU. Not sure how many people will be watching that because not many people showed up at the Lloyd Noble Center the other night to watch the game against Auburn. Not sure how
Porter's family will be there. He's got a great family.
That's a 5 o'clock tip-off in case you're bored. SEC Network. Number 20, Arkansas. Number 7, Florida. That's the big one, prime time at 7:30 on ESPN. Arkansas is a 9.5-point underdog to the Florida Gators. And then Auburn, 7:30. You can hear the tip right here on Jocks tomorrow night as the Ole Miss Rebels 1-12. 1-12 in quad one games, 2-6 in the SEC. Take on the Auburn Tigers, a must-win. As Stephen Pearl said the other night after the Oklahoma loss, if you lose Saturday, we're out of the tournament, period. So,
will there be as much hand-wringing and teeth gnashing once we expand? We go up to 76, 78 teams?
it's coming. It used to be back in the old days, you needed to get 20 wins. If you got 20 wins as a coach, you felt like, okay, my team's going to probably get into the tournament. I'm safe. But now that bar has just been, raised to the point to where you need 23 or 24 wins, where you really feel good about keeping your job. And then you most definitely need to make the tournament based on the fact that they expanded to 68.
For a lot of our listeners, if you grew up in the state or you've been in the state a while and you've always loved college basketball, like I have, you wanted the state teams to do well. But if you got one team from the state, if you got one team every single year, that was great. That was bonus. But most of the time, if you got one team from the state that made the NCAA tournament every 2 years, every 3 years, oh, wow, we got a team in it. It'll be fun to watch. Now, for me, it's the expectation. It's the expectation at Alabama. It's the expectation at Auburn to be in the tournament every single year. That should be, I think, every AD in the SEC's expectation for their basketball program every year. With the amount of money and resources that you have to go and recruit top talent, I don't think there's any excuse. You think that's where we are? You grew up here for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Should the expectation be at Alabama and Auburn making the tournament every single year?
Yes. Absolutely. Just like it should be at UAB. I think anything less is a huge disappointment. And especially now with the resources that has been poured in to all three of those programs.
If you're dumping $9 to $12 million in on your roster.
I mean, UAB has always been a priority for basketball. Always.
Yeah.
From day one. When Gene Bartow founded the program. So, yeah. Unfortunately, for UAB's sake, the conferences that they have been a part of have not helped them out, being one big leagues. And the American has not lived up to what it was supposed to be when all these teams left Conference USA.
But a credit to AK and UAB, no matter what you looked at during the season and watched some of those teams, typically this time of year, Andy Kennedy teams, they're getting better. They're playing their best basketball. And they always make the conference tournament really, really entertaining. Because they're usually in the conference championship game. They're usually winning that conference championship game.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got a great shot to do it this year.
Well, just make the team go stay in Coleman and drive down for the game.
Well, technically, it's a road game.
Yeah. Yeah, they're playing at Legacy. They're not playing at Bartow.
Coleman. Why stop there?
Go to Huntsville.
No. Stay in Mobile. Let them think about it. 4.5 hours up 65. This is why we train, men.
That's right. Get ready. We've got one more hour to go for the week. Hope you'll join us. 1-800-239-WJOX calls are coming in. We'll get to your text message as well. This is Three Man Front on Jocks.